Hi, parents and families. This is Melissa Sykish,
And Julie Midelis.
and we're going to take a look at the different tools that our students use on a daily basis. I'm sure as parents and families, you're wondering your student has a Chromebook. What are they doing all day on these Chromebooks? So, we're going to hopefully give you a little bit of insight on the things that our students are doing. The first thing we want to share is that hopefully you don't think that they are on their Chromebooks all day, every day, because that really isn't the case. Our Chromebooks have really turned into a portal for our students to be able to access all this information at their fingertips at any point during the day. But our teaching is still the same. Our teachers are excellent in their lessons, and the students are now more engaged because they can find answers on the fly. So one of the things that we have found that our Chromebooks and our devices are really turning into is a tool for our students to get organized. And one of those ways to do that is inside Schoology. So Schoology does have a calendar feature that a lot of our middle schools are starting to use. And what's nice about this is that it links all of their school calendars. If they have a calendar at their building, or their club has a calendar, or their classroom has a calendar, all of those can be found here, but they can also have their own calendar where they can put in things that they're supposed to do after school, or if they have an assignment that their teacher maybe hasn't posted yet on their classroom, the student can make that reminder inside their calendar. Just as you and I have calendars that help us manage our days, our students are now starting to use that feature too. And what's nice is that this is both available on the Chromebook as well as on any phones that they may or may not have. Another tool that our students are able to use is Google Keep. So just like in the Google Suite with Google Docs and Slides, there is this extra tool called Google Keep that's available to all of our staff and students, and they're basically sticky notes. So students can create these sticky notes just like they would a real sticky note, but then it won't flutter away, or they won't lose it. And these sticky notes, they can actually collaborate on them with their peers or teachers or even with you, as long as you've got a Google email. And so you can see these notes, their peers can see these notes, and they can make checklists. They can collaborate and decide the different things that they need for a project or ideas that they have for something that they're working on together, and really have it as a collaborative space. Some of our students are using it as a reminder on what homework they have. So there's a lot of different ways that they can use this tool that's available to them. And the last organization tool that we've really seen is the use of our school email. All of our students, the second that they're registered into our system, do have a school email. The school email typically isn't introduced, though, to our students until late elementary. Sometimes you'll see it as early as third grade, but typically fourth and fifth. But some of our students don't even use it until they reach middle school. It's a way for them to communicate with each other if they're working on class projects, communicate with their teacher if they need to access them on a timely manner. And what's nice is at the high school, our students are using these emails to access colleges and part time jobs. So it's really their first professional email.
Now we're going to shift gears and talk about a little bit about how teachers are utilizing the technology in the classroom and doing the same great things they were doing before, but going a little bit farther, able to dig a little bit deeper and delve more into content with students. Some things are as simple as changing the way in which something is given to the students. So instead of taking a paper pencil test, the students are now completing it in Schoology. But other things allow teachers to go a lot more into depth on topics. So we're going to start off with Schoology as an in-class tool. Schoology is the system our teachers and students use to be able to distribute class materials, to administer assessments like quizzes and tests, to give assignments in a digital version, and to provide links and resources to your students. So in the picture you see on your screen here, this is an example of one of my classes. I teach Spanish, but I've provided the class some links to specific resources they need. You'll see the vocabulary document. That's a document that they use and edit and work with all the time. And then different resources organized into folders. But also within Schoology, teachers have the capability, as mentioned, to administer a quiz, and students can get instant feedback if it's something that's automatically graded, or have a record of their progress and never lose that paper because it's right there in Schoology for them. The next in-class tool I'll talk about is Google Drive. Students have access to a lot of different applications within Google Drive. So we have Google Sheets, which is like a spreadsheet, Google Forms, where students can create surveys, Google Drawings. We've got Google Docs, which is like our old Microsoft Word, where students can create papers that they need to type, research papers, or any other sort of things that they're going to create, maybe keep a digital notebook. So within Google Drive, students can create, view, and edit documents. They can create presentations as well. They can collaborate on documents, and that is one of the greatest part of Google Drive is that if I have a partner that I'm working on a project with, I can share a document with that partner, and we both are able to edit that document and work together. So we don't necessarily have to be sitting next to each other to work on something. Now I can work on something with a peer if I'm not with them all the time. Google Drive is also a way for students to organize their class materials. So some students, for example, have chosen to get away from a notebook or a pencil and paper or folders with paper to take notes for classes. They can easily create folders for each of their class, create Google Docs within those folders to take notes for the week or on the topic or whatever they are learning. So Google Drive is a great tool that students can use. In addition to the students being able to use it, teachers can also use Google Drive through Schoology, where they assign something to a student, but both the teacher and the student are able to see that document or that presentation in real time. So the teacher can see exactly what the student's doing at any given time within the document. Next, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the redefinition of some tasks. So, as I mentioned earlier, some teachers are able to dig a little bit deeper, do tasks a little bit differently than they were able to in the past. And so you'll see a lot of teachers moving towards project-based learning. The students are given a problem, and now it's up to them to figure it out rather than the teacher giving them step-by-step what to do. Students are having to come up with the solutions on their own. Students are able to do simulations, for example, real world problems and learning. So, a few of the examples you'll see on the screen in the upper right, where it says Families in the World, this is a website called Dollar Street. It's a great resource for social studies, or even myself as a world language teacher use it, or language arts could use it as a writing prompt. But it shows different families around the world and what they pictures of what their life is like based on their socioeconomic status. The one in the middle with the big plus sign is called Flipgrid. This is a website where students can record themselves with a video and then post it to a class board, and other students are able to comment on it and give feedback to a student, or the teacher can keep it private where just the teacher is able to see their video. You'll see on the lower right that looks like a cork board or a bulletin board is a website called Padlet. And that could be used for various people to post in one place. So it's almost as if each student in the class has taken a Post-it note and stuck it onto a big poster. And maybe they use that as a review tool to review a problem, or to review for a unit, excuse me, or maybe it's a math problem and each student solved it on a Post-it note and then they stick it up on the board. So that's what Padlet is. You'll see your kids using YouTube, not to just sit and watch YouTube videos, but teachers can create playlists to share with their students that are relevant to the content of their class. Or even create flipped lessons where the students learn something new by watching a video, and then in class, they practice that skill. You'll also see teachers having students do blogs or make their own websites based on certain content they're learning, or throughout the year to kind of keep a digital portfolio. One really important thing with all of these, the redefinition of these tasks and the way we're changing the use of technology in the classroom, it's really important that students are equipped with what they need. And one of those things that we're finding is really important is just a set of headphones. We really like them to have the microphone built in the headphones, if at all possible. But that is something that students are going to kind of need moving forward in order to be able to complete some of the tasks teachers are asking students to do and to be successful with those tasks.
And lastly, we just wanted to share some of the outside tools that you may or may not see your students using, because there are so many things available to our teachers, and it's all dependent on their content area and how they teach. You might see your students in some of these tools. Julia had shared YouTube. A lot of our middle school Classrooms are introducing typing.com, which is on the left hand side, just to introduce your students to touch typing and get them to type faster. PlayPosit is a program that kind of pairs with YouTube videos and interjects questions in between the videos that the teachers want them to use. So now it's not only just watching those videos, but actually interacting with it as well. Nearpods, you might see those, they're interactive video slides. So there might be information there that your students are gathering. They might be creating some things in that program. It's a very versatile program. And then lastly, on the right-hand side, this might be familiar if your students play Prodigy math in elementary school. Although it looks like Zelda, it is very much a curricularly centered tool that goes all the way up to 8th grade. So we hope that this time has given you an insight on what your students are doing on a daily basis. And please feel free to reach out to any of your teachers to find out more about what your students are doing in the classroom. Have a great day.